Make him the cutest.
Welcome back to Breakfast Television here on City TV. Jim Yee, we're talking about retirement, and let's talk about your 4 forms of retirement compromise.
Yeah, so for most people, when you sort of do a typical retirement plan and you plunk in the numbers, there's usually a shortfall. Usually the program says, I don't have enough. So there's 4 things that you can do to make up that shortfall. And the most obvious one is save more money. That's really what a lot of these programs are geared to do, is get you to save more money. But I think that what happens is a lot of people forget that there's 3 other options out there.
Which are?
The second option is to use a higher rate of return or invest your portfolio differently to try and earn better rates of return.
Which could be riskier as well.
Which is riskier, typically,
yeah.
The third is to retire later. And the fourth is to spend less money in retirement. Right?
Now, when you're looking at these 4 things, there's some that you can do at an earlier stage, because saving more money might be tough to do when you're 60 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and higher investments, that's not typically the time when they say to do that. So those are things that you can focus on when you're a little bit younger.
Yeah. The result, the impact, the outcome of changing, spending more money and changing your rates of return really impact you more when you're younger. So again, it's the magic of compound interest. And in order for the magic of compound interest to work, you need time on your side. The 50-year-old or the 55 or the 60-year-old who's 5 to 10 years from retirement, you don't have that sort of time frame to compromise. So then what you look at is you look at more at, okay, do I have the right retirement age? And do I have the right lifestyle or expenses assumption put into place?
Right.
They'll have changing those ones will have a greater impact for those who are closer to retirement.
Well, I mean, retirement age is something that you may not have a choice on, right? Depending on which business you're at, they may just say 65 is the year and you're done.
Right.
So you would then have to go out and find another job, which might be a bit of a challenge to some people as well.
But even that's starting to change dramatically. I mean, demographics are changing the whole face of retirement, and it's changing right in front of our eyes. If you think about 100 years ago, retirement didn't exist. You worked until you died. You died around 50 years, right?
Yeah.
And 30 years ago, you retired at 65, you died at 70. Now, what's happening is the baby boomers are all getting ready to retire. And we don't have enough workforce underneath when all these baby boomers are ready to retire. So what's going to happen, I think, is there's going to be more incentive for retirees to continue working longer, and the old definition of you have to retire at 65, it won't exist. I mean, just in legislation, they changed the term to phased retirement or transitional retirement. This is revolutionary, because what it's really saying is retirement's no longer cold turkey. You quit, you stop working.
Right.
Now there's opportunities to go from 5 days to 4 days to 3 days to 2 days. There's opportunities to work on contract, part-time. People are getting hired back to their employers all the time now. So,
well, labor shortage helps out with that, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, people are getting called back. When you're talking about saving more money and getting higher returns, so say if you're in your 40s or even early 50s, that area, saving more money can sometimes be a challenge, because I know a lot of people look at it and they just think, you know, how am I going to live for today? I live for tomorrow. I don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. I've got to live for today, and sometimes that's a bit of a conflict for people.
It's that whole adage of, are you a spender or are you a saver, right? And the problem in today's world is there's too many spenders. We now have a negative savings rate, which means that more people are going into debt than saving money. And I think part of that problem is compounded because we've become a debt society. Debt is so accessible, you know. Just yesterday I got another little piece of mail that says you can access a bigger line of credit or more line of credit. So I think that what we need to do is switch gears and start becoming better savers. And you know, I acknowledge it's tough. You know, we live in a world where we're always encouraged to spend our money. And the irony of it all is spending makes us feel rich, but the only way to become rich is really to save money.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. Okay, and we're going to take a quick break.
Perfect.
We'll be back with more in just a moment. Right now, though, it's time to head back out to Who Cares? Here's Bridget. I think I saw you swaying to the music there, just sort of getting into it a little bit, hey? You know what, let's talk about the last stage now. This is our last segment. One of the things I found fascinating in going through your notes is that when you're working, you get 1 check. When you're in retirement, all of a sudden you could get 5, 6, 8 checks. you have to, after going through, you know, your whole work life, probably not knowing a lot about finances, now all of a sudden you've got to become involved.
You got it. It's probably the biggest change that happens financially, and we all worry about how, if we have enough money, but the real challenge in retirement is figuring out where we're going to get our income from and how to manage that on a day-to-day basis. So you're right. You know, when we're working, we get a paycheck. When we make $1, we don't get to keep $1. But all we worry about is what goes into the bank account, because that's how we spend our money. But in retirement, if you get pension, CPP, OAS, you get money from your RIFs, your investment portfolio, maybe you work a little bit in retirement, all of a sudden you have potentially 8 paychecks that come in, and none of them talk to each other. So they're all taking off not enough tax, and then at the end of the year you file your tax return, then you're surprised that you owe so much money because nobody's taken off enough tax, and then they put you on quarterly installments, which is something that all retirees hate. They don't want to be on quarterly installments.
That's what my mom used to do.
That's right, and they hate it. Every time they got that bill from the government, she probably cringed and screamed and cursed and all the things. So taking the time to figure out, overlay your income, all the different sources, know how much tax you're going to need to take off, and then spend the difference. Because if you don't take enough taxes off, chances you're going to spend the money that you're getting, because that's what you were used to your entire working career.
Right. So if you haven't worked with a financial advisor, though, and you know, and if you don't have a good knowledge base when it comes to finances, do you find a lot of people just still don't, and they just try to muddle through this and think, wow, now I'm getting 8 checks instead of 1. That's not such a bad thing, and sort of joke about the number without realizing at all the potential problems? Yeah.
I think, you know, never be afraid to get help if you need help. I think that sometimes, and I've heard a lot of retirees and pre-retirees say, well, I don't want to go to a financial advisor because I don't have enough money, or I don't know enough, or I'm scared, or there's an intimidation of going to a professional for help. But if you need help, I mean, who are you going to go to? You got to go to see a financial advisor to get that help.
Sometimes, though, and I found with some plans, some companies, the really good financial advisors, the ones that are highly respected in the firm, don't take the people with just thousands of dollars. They take the high rollers and that sort of thing. So if you don't have lots of money, you may not be going to as qualified a person as, you know, somebody else might be able to go to.
Yeah. The best way, just like any other service industry, is to get referred in, right? So if you're a young person just starting out, ask your parents if they have a financial advisor that they're working with, and a lot of times the financial advisor will take you in simply because you're related to one of the clients, or if you know somebody who's successful, they might be able to get you in because they have a really good relationship with their advisor already. So, you know, the best thing to do is ask around. Look for people who are really happy with their advisor, who give gleaming testimonials.
Right. I would think even a good accountant will definitely help you out as well. I mean, I've had an accountant for, I don't know, 5-6 years, and I just find, I'm amazed at how when I hand him my stuff, he'll look at it and go, oh, you don't have this form, what happened to this investment? I mean, if you've got a good accountant, they can at least keep you on the straight and narrow at that time of year.
Yeah. It's like anything. You probably need a team of professionals, a financial advisor, a lawyer, and an accountant. If you get one person that tries to do that all, they're probably...
too much.
Yeah, too much. So, but, you know, the reality of life is that there's good accountants and bad accountants, there's good advisors and bad advisors, and same with lawyers. So it's really trying to find somebody you relate to. I find the other big mistake that people make is they go see somebody and they go with them right away. The best thing to do is interview 2 people, 2 advisors or 2 accountants or 2 lawyers, because you don't know what you're comparing unless you have something to compare it to.
Right. So shop around like you would for a TV.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's basically it. Yeah. You're going to shop around for that, so you may as well shop around for a professional to help you as well. Thanks very much for coming in this morning.
Thank you very much,
Hopefully we can have you on the show again, Jim.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We've got some information to put up here about Jim if you'd like to get in contact with him. He's got a couple of websites you can check out. One is wealthwebgurus.com. The other one, retirehappy.ca. If you'd like to email Jim, you can. It's jim@retirehappy.ca as well. And Jim is generous enough to give us one of his books here. We've got the book, and we've got an estate organizer as well. The book is 7 Strategies to Guarantee Your Investments, and we're going to put the phone number up on the screen for you. It's 412-2790. We'll make it for the first caller as well, and you can pick up this package courtesy of Jim. We're going to be back in the studio with Wendy in a little bit. Right now, though, it's time to head to the Mayfield Dinner Theatre and find out what the behind-the-scenes are like at the latest production there.